Alright, hey there, it's Phoenix Flight again. So we are going to be taking a look at another replay from the Mechabellum Discord, and we are going to be watching ShadowGames here. This is going to be interesting, as this is going to be my first time reviewing a 2v2 style game. It will certainly be more difficult to be educational, just because, for example, as you can see here, I don't get to see what the other options are when it comes to these selection rounds. So I'll do the best I can with what I've got. Okay, Elite Specialist with Marksman and Mustang. This is a very difficult setup for sure. Elite without a chaff unit, such as Crawlers or Fangs, is very, very difficult to play in the early game in particular. Ideally, you don't want level 2 chaff, especially early on, because the whole role of chaff is just to be cheap body blockers, just meat shields for your more important units. Okay, so our protagonist here is ShadowGames. He's going to be playing on the right side. I'm going to primarily focus on what goes on this half of the board, given that this is our player. If teammate does anything crazy, we'll certainly mention it, though, if necessary. Okay, so how are we going to play Elite Specialist with no chaff? Like I said, okay, so first things first, we're going to be upgrading the research building. That's health. This is certainly a misplay. Round 1, we need to be getting units out, even if they're expensive as the Elite Specialist. We need the deployments. Every deployment matters in this game. Another thing to be note is that we have steel balls here. And you know that the enemy is starting with steel balls. Problem with that is, given how the steel ball lasers work, how they ramp up to theoretically infinite amounts of damage, the building health really doesn't matter when the steel ball is attacking it. The difference between a level 3 and a level 1 building when steel balls attack it is pretty minimal. So that's going to be pretty difficult to deal with, especially early on here. As obviously you don't know yet, but we got the enemy is going to be going for like an aggro, aggressive style push, take a quick tower kill, and then annihilate from there. So let's speed this up a little bit. So we're going to be using the Mustangs as our chaff clear, Marksman as our carry unit to deal with the steel balls. Enemy's got a big ol' orange man as the Marksman Specialist. So let's see how this goes. It's like, I understand maybe why you would go for extra health on the tower if you were an aggro player yourself and you're setting up your guys about here, trying to get a quick tower kill in that direction. But when you're playing defensively like this with your guys in the back, I don't see much value to it, to just abandon a tower right away. Okay, we're going temp speed in round 1. This is a misplay. We don't go for the temporary boosts in round 1. Every, like I was saying earlier, every deployment matters. The health that went on this building, the temporary speed boost, this could have gone to a second set of crawlers that could have gone maybe here or even in the back corner. But alas, it's just round 1. We can bounce back from it. As we can see, not much to say about round 1. The tower is wide open. The balls are going to take it extremely quickly. Meanwhile, your teammate's doing a good job on his side. He's being able to kill off the sledges before they can take down the Mustangs. Okay, so we can see. Look at all these crawlers making it to the sniper. So that tells me chaff clear needs to improve, which means the Mustangs weren't getting the job done. Alright, so is teammate gonna clean this up? Okay, so teammate unable to win it. It's just round 1 though. you know, round one, especially as elite, is very difficult to win. We don't really care about the result of round one. All we're really doing is focusing on being able to make a stronger board later in the game. All right, Missile Strike is coming out. Elite Phoenix doesn't really make sense for you. Oh, Haste Module was an option. All right, let's talk about it. So I'm going to pause this. So Haste Module is an awesome item for Mustangs. It increases their damage and it increases their speed, but this is primarily for the damage purpose, so it can wipe out crawlers even faster. So in this situation, I would have put some Mustangs back here, given them the haste module, and then they can start killing off the crawlers from this pack. Then we maybe put like some fangs over here just to have some bodies in the way so that the steel balls get stuck on the fangs while the Mustangs in the back are able to kill the crawlers, and then this marksman can start taking out some of the balls. That would be the play that I would do. Missile Strike is definitely not a bad idea by any means. I do like it. It's just, I would just say the haste module would be a more optimal choice for sure. You know, so this is more like a missed opportunity. Okay, another thing I want to talk about. We do not want to, as a rule of thumb, don't buy any technologies before round 4. Because let's say oh, and we're taking a loan. Okay, loans in the early game are an absolute no-no. This will absolutely ruin your game in the long term. You'll have less money to spend, which as elite specialist is even a double whammy, because with all of your units being level 2, they're so expensive for you in particular. So as elite specialist, you got to be really cognizant of how you're spending your money and really be a penny pincher until the late game when the money starts getting out of control, and then you can buy your level 2 big units right away. But like I was saying with technologies is, let's say hypothetically next round is a unit drop round, and one of the offers is, say, a Vulcan or 2 Fire Badgers, right? Something that just absolutely wipes out both the crawlers you've got and the Mustangs really easily. You would be in serious trouble with the fact that you've already invested a technology into them and you can't get that refunded. Okay, temp speed, again, we shouldn't be buying this in round 2. We were not looking for tempo early on as an elite specialist. Elite specialist is slow and steady. We're not going for quick kills like, say, a quick supply specialist would. And even then, quick supply shouldn't really do that either. Alright, but at least we got plenty of Mustangs as our chaff clearers. Got enough crawlers. The replicate pays off for now. Certainly lucky that your opponent's chaff clear is not great either. With him really relying on the wasps, which were almost all taken out by that missile. So we'll take it, but just know at a higher level of play that would certainly get punished. But hey, speaking of the level of play, I forgot to mention it early on, but I'll talk about it right after this selection round. Okay, so what? Okay, missile device for your teammate. That could be interesting. That could take out balls pretty quickly. Let's see, heavy armor is an option. Not very useful. Absorb. Oh, you're going for the absorb module. Okay, so absorb module does best on units that have high damage sustained attacks, like say a melter or a steel ball in particular. Enemies going for a Wraith, that could be totally fine too, especially because your anti-air right now is just a few marksmen. Not the best to deal with. Oh, and you got the Mustangs too. But we will see. We're taking another loan. Again, we don't take loans in the early game. Only times you take loans are in the late game when either you're at low health and you absolutely have to take it because you're going to die anyway if you don't. Or if you're on the opposite side where you're about to go for the kill shot and you want to just end the game right away. It's a risk that you can decide to take. Absorption module on the crawlers, this is a misplay. These crawlers are not going to get crazy amounts of kills. Maybe we got the wasps killing them. It's just been revealed that a Wraith is going to be killing them. So these crawlers are not going to get a lot of kills. And even if they did, they wouldn't be gaining that much health, right? Because these are low HP units anyway. Like, could you imagine if instead, hypothetically, if you had, say, a melter right about here, pointed at these higher health units, and it can steal the life from them instead, and the melter itself is a super high HP unit, so it would really benefit from it. All right, so let's take a look. Yeah, like, see, the wasps and the wraith are taking out these crawlers no problem. I mean, sure, some of them are getting through just because they're level 3, but see, now it's just too much for them to handle. You need legitimate chaff clear on this side. You need mustangs in the back. You need a Vulcan. You need fire badgers. You need something that can take out crawlers quickly and efficiently. Because this is what we don't want. We don't want our marksmen wasting their time on these little crawlers like this. You know, most games in Mechabellum are decided at the chaff war. Even at, you know, top of the world level, 2,000 plus MMR games, the guy who has the last fangs or crawlers on the field is usually the one who's winning. So just to take note of that, but looks like teammate might be able to hold on. Oh, no, looks like this race health regen is just a little too much for teammate to take it. Okay, let's hide the panel. Okay, so you went with Typhoons as an option. All right, so this is interesting just because you already have Mustangs that fulfill a very similar role to the Typhoon. Yes, the Typhoons are tankier. Okay, so this is an interesting play. Going for the AA. I understand the idea. You saw that you lost to the Wraith and the Wasps. However, when there's only 2 units like this, if I'm the opponent, something I could do when I see this coming next turn, you know, once the round starts, is I could hypothetically, I could sell my Wraith this turn, or next turn rather, and then 2 turns from now, sell the Wasps, move these items onto other units, then all of a sudden you're facing an army that has no air at all, but you have a technology that's just wasted that only affects air. So if you're going to tech the Mustangs, the safer pick almost always is going to be range enhancement first. Mustangs benefit from being way in the back, being nice and safe, and killing crawlers, fangs, and wasps from the backs in safety with tanky units in front and chaff eating bullets for those tanky units. Again, what I've said about loans, I don't have to say it again. I do like the idea of the mobile beacon. Let's see how you use it, though. Okay, this is okay. Again, I'd be of the type where maybe we want to put them back here, so they're a little bit safer behind the tankier units, but I get the idea. You want them to go directly to the Wraith that's been causing you problems. So I understand why. Okay, this bubble here, this bubble, that is a misplay. We're going to see exactly why when the round starts. I'll explain it when we get to it. Okay, the enemy making a smart play also with mobile beacon, just so it doesn't get his balls don't get distracted. All right, let's look at the shield that you just placed. See the steel balls? There you go. No more shield. Steel balls are a direct counter to those shields, so we can't really effectively use them. That's 100 credits we could spend elsewhere more effectively. As we can see, with the Typhoons going down to the steel balls, crawlers getting through, again, this means the chaff war is being lost at the moment. We need more chaff in front and chaff clearers in the back, whether it be maybe Mustangs in the back with range. There are or maybe like a Vulcan if you really want to win the chaff war quickly, as long as you can protect it from the steel balls. But looks like Teammate's going to be able to carry this one, it looks like. But yeah, again, as we can see here, crawlers are making it to the very end. So that's your telltale sign that the chaff clear needs to improve. All right, let's see if Teammate can steal the win. That's a lot of Mustangs for this one guy to deal with. Yeah, this is the value of the absorption module, though. See, this is a case where it makes sense because the Wraith is a high HP unit relative to air units. So it gets a lot of value out of the absorption module. So, all right, going into this selection round. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to mention. So, ShadowGames here is a 500 MMR level player and wanted feedback against an 800-ish MMR level opponent. So I'm sorry for not mentioning that earlier. Okay, we went for Shield Device Specialist. I understand the thinking behind it, right? You saw the shield that you just placed die quickly. Let's make a stronger shield to counteract that. However, the problem is, again, how I mentioned earlier in the game, given how the steel ball works, with how the laser ramps up over time, any additional health really doesn't make any significant impact. It might stay on for a hair longer, but it's not going to be enough to change the outcome of the battle. Again, we're pushing for alone, not good. We only push for alone when we're really low on health or the enemy's really low on health. Or in very rare circumstances in the mid-game, if there's like some critical technology that could really swing the game and you're just a little short on it. That can happen. Like, I don't know, let's say there's a unit drop and you get 2 fortresses and you just need to get, I don't know, barrier right away and it would make a big difference. Fine. Okay, pushing for the speed. I mean, the speed could work in the fact that these crawlers here could quickly get to this tower and get a nice kill. So I like the idea of the temp speed if they can get in. Meanwhile, let's see the main... See, shield went down very quickly again. You know, the shield device specialist really made no significant difference in this case, unfortunately. You know, that's one reason why people build steel balls, is to counter those shields. Alright. Looks like Teammate is doing a great job on his side, taking care of business. So let's speed this up here. This has to be enough to win this, right? Yeah, come on. Yeah. Alright, going into the next round. Was this round 6 coming into? Okay, level 6 Rhino. Let's see what's... Overlord, the boats are the option here. Is there anything else? More boats? Okay, I'm not gonna wait for that. Oh, okay, let's talk about this. So, one moment, I'm sorry. Let me get rid of the chat window. Let's not get rid of the chat window. Okay, so here's the deal. We already know steel balls are on the field, and they've been causing a lot of problems so far. We also know in the unit drop that we just saw that boats were a reasonable option to choose from. Both of these units directly counter rhinos very strongly. So the rhino is a very dangerous play going into this. It can work, but it's very risky. You just kind of have to hope that your opponent doesn't put units in the right spots. I do like the idea of this, where you take the rhino along with some chaff and just bum rush the tower, try to get a quick tower kill. I like that idea. Nothing wrong with it. What I don't like is going into Whirlwind right away. Again, I like the idea. I'm going to clear the chaff with the rhino so it doesn't get distracted, right? That's totally understandable. The problem comes in with the fact, like I was just saying, with these other units that directly counter the rhino, you've already spent 200, was it 250, 300 to unlock Whirlwind? You can't get that money back. right? So we're invested in this rhino. We got to make it work now, unless, you know, you just have the balls to sell it. Most people don't once they have a technology on something. So if you want to keep this rhino play, what you could do instead, right, is you could put the rhino right about here, right on the line, buy or use your mobile beacon that you already have, because you already have, you put Mustangs here, so you don't need that mobile beacon in the back anymore to do the same job. So we're going to put the rhino right here, use the mobile beacon to do an L shape like this to go attack that tower. The idea being it avoids the fangs and the crawlers that could distract it. It's going straight for it, but it's also avoiding the main force over here. So it's just going to ignore these guys and go straight to the tower. And then next round, when the enemy inevitably puts maybe some steel balls right about here or back here, or a boat, what have you, in this area to stop the rhino, you just sell it. You sell the rhino. It's level 6. He's worth 700 supplies, so it's pretty significant cash injection that you can pivot into some other completely different strategy that your opponent's not expecting. So that's usually the value of these high-level rhinos, especially in upper-level play. You bait something, you sell it, and do something totally different. Next, let's take a look at these crawlers. They did 4,000 damage last round, which isn't much. They aren't really getting anything done, even with the absorption module. We should be thinking about selling the crawlers and moving the absorption module onto these typhoons, which, as we can see, they're getting the most work done, right? They have the most kill, or they don't have the most kills, but they have the most damage last round, most damage across the entire game so far. So let's make those typhoons stronger if we have to keep these typhoons going like this. No, the typhoons are fine. They just needed the support of the fangs in front to eat up some shots. All right, that's a lot going on there. So let's get this back going. And again, thank you for submitting your replay to the server and asking for feedback. I definitely don't want to come off as overly negative. I apologize if I do. Just want to say, you know, everybody in the Discord was a 0 MMR with no experience, didn't know what we were doing at one point or another. So this is my way of giving back, given all the teaching that, you know, Idle Cub and Kovrak and Rat and Pants of Fury, among others, have done to help me get out of 400 to 600 MMR hell and get me up to 1650 at my peak the other day. So, all right, let's take a look once this round starts. All right, let's take a look at this bubble again, just to make sure we get the lesson in. No, bye-bye bubble. Okay, Rhino. I mean, the Whirlwind is getting a little bit of work done, but as we can see, he's getting distracted because he doesn't have a mobile beacon, right? He's going to your enemy's teammates' side of the board. He's not going directly to the tower like I'm sure what you actually wanted. And honestly, he only lasted that long just because he was a level 6 with a crazy amount of health. You know, if that was a typical level 1 Rhino, it would have been absolutely shut down in no time. So, looks like teammate is going to have to clean this up again. Can teammate clean this up? He should. Yeah, with this many marksmen with range, he should be able to clean this up. Yeah, Jesus. These 2v2 rounds, it's been so long since I played, it takes so long. Even when sped up. Alright, here we go. Enemy team is at 229 health. So, first let's see what pick there is. Okay, underground threat. Ooh, amp core was an option. Okay. I get... Let's see, where are you going to put this amp... or, underground? Okay. I get the idea of the underground threat, right? You want to pull these crawlers away, pull the boat away, and then that, maybe even these fangs, depending. You pull them out of the way so then, so that the rhino and crew can quickly make it up there. I get that in theory, but in practice, if we see here again, this Typhoon is getting some serious work done. Let's put an amplifying core on to give it more health, more damage, so get even more work done. Yeah, so because the enemy's at 229 health, this is when I would give the green light to get a loan. Okay, so this is the third bubble we're putting up after seeing the last two go down in no time to the balls. So if you really, yeah, okay, this is totally acceptable. You gotta push for the win when they're at so low health. But anyway, if you really want to try this bubble thing, what you really need is to have some fangs that are sticking just a little bit outside of it, that are right inside the range of the steel balls. So they attack those fangs first, and then ideally, if you position them properly, the Typhoons are attacking the shield, the balls are attacking the fangs, so each one's attacking what it's not good at, ideally. Easier said than done. I don't think it may not be possible in this specific alignment of troops. Okay, temp speed, you want to get them in. That's, yeah, for what, let's see, Jim, you have no money left, so we should just speed up here. Okay, tiny little thing. It looks like we want to move the marksman and the crawlers over. If you're doing this to intentionally have them be delayed, then 100% fine. But if you need them to be showing up right away the battle, why would we not just do a straight line? This could be just personal preference. I'm not going to say it's good or bad one way or the other, but just something to be considerate of. Okay, crawlers in the back, doing a little bit of distraction. Shield, what shield? It's gone. So that's the big lesson we're going to take away from this one. When we see steel balls that are not getting countered properly on the front line, don't be building bubbles. That's not going to slow them down at all. That's a big waste of money. You're spending 100 credits per round to slow the enemy down by like 1 second, right? It's totally not worth it. That 100 could be used in much better ways. Another lesson is we should be looking at the stats of our units between rounds and be able to see, you know, which ones are effective, which ones aren't. If there's something that's ineffective that has an item, we need to either change our strategy or we need to sell that unit and move that item to a unit that can make better use of it. And then my third takeaway from this game, as it looks like you're going to wrap up with your teammate carrying you to victory here, is the lone situation. You know, throughout the entire course of the game, you had significantly fewer units than the enemy, which is already going to be the case when you're an elite specialist. That's inevitable, but you exacerbated the issue by taking so many loans throughout the game. Again, no criticism about the round 7 loan. That's totally fine, but all the others, they were way too early, totally unnecessary, from what I was seeing here. But yeah, you definitely have some of the fundamentals down for sure. Like I said, it's mostly the loans, the shields not really doing anything, and then taking a look. You know, like in the last round, these crawlers did no damage, and I get it. They're crawlers. They're not supposed to necessarily get kills, but when they have an item that predicates, you know, that actually gets value when they get kills, that's a problem, right? So we could have sold these guys, moved it on to something else, right? It's just something to be cognizant of. And then again, the Rhino, I would not have bought Whirlwind. I would have tried the Rhino for 1 round if I'm going to do it. Again, maybe we can do that L-shape idea. And if he fails, fine, it happens, right? That's Mechabellum. But then we just sell him, and then we just get 700 that we can use towards something totally different that the enemy hopefully has no idea is coming. Another thing, not really in this game, but just be cognizant of maybe throwing down a flank as well. You know, if let's say hypothetically maybe fire badgers came out, maybe a fire badger flank could have worked. Not a huge thing. There wasn't really a good opportunity to flank this game. Your opponent did a pretty solid job making it not very feasible to get a good flank in. All right. Hopefully that was very educational for you. Hopefully this helps take your game to the next level. Continue having fun with Mechabellum. Continue making mistakes. Continue to ask questions, right? Like I said, all of us were shitty at this game once upon a time. Thank you again for submitting to the Mechabellum Discord. My name is Phoenix Flight, and I will see you around. Thank you.